All right, welcome in everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever part of the world you're watching from. We're glad you're here for the Illusion of Gaia Randomizer Tournament. I am Don't Bagumi. I am joined by Wilden, also on comm. Say hello, Wilden.
Hello, everyone.
This is going to be fun. This is the second of 4 races that are happening today. So we're all Gaia all the time. Um, we had one race earlier today. We have one now. We have 2 more later. Math is hard, but we got it locked down. Today racing for this seed, we have 3 runners. We have Miyafuji311, we have solarcell007, and we have Neomatamune. And so a little bit about our runners. If you do !R like I'm doing, you can follow the runners. You can also follow us on comms if you would like. But Mia is somewhat new to the Gaia Randomizer community, but he's no stranger to gaming in general. He's got world records in games like Stone Protectors and Lethal Enforcers Arcade. He also speedruns Earthworm Jim. He likes RPGs, shoot 'em up, and puzzle games. Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario games. He's all over in the retro world there. But we're so glad to have him here today in this race. solarcell007 is a vanilla runner for this game. He has world records in like all the categories, not quite all the categories, but quite a few. He likes playing Illusion of Gaia, Lufia 2, and forcefully Goof Troop. And then finally, we have Neomatamune coming to us from France. He's one of the co-developers of this randomizer. He did some great work helping shore up some stuff with the randomizer, adding in some new elements. So he's great to have on the team as well, and we're very happy to have everyone here. Let's see. So before we start, let's talk a little bit about this event. This event has been organized by Queen Anne B. Very grateful for her being a part of the community and also helping put together this tournament. We actually have prizes, legit prizes. We'll probably show a screenshot of that later on, but we have some custom dioramas that were made for both the winners of the final race and the runner-up race, which will be happening tomorrow. And so keep your eyes open for that as well. Does it look like we're ready? Wilder, why don't you talk about yourself a little bit while I make sure that we're all ready to go? How did you come to the community? What's your history with Illusion of Gaia?
So I've been playing Illusion of Gaia since it was one of the very first games I played when I was young, after my uncle gave us his old SNES with the game. Couldn't do very well, barely made it past vampires for a long time. Then in about 2012, I saw Pewixel run in Summer Games Done Quick and thought, yeah, I can probably do that. And I've been a bit on and off since then. Found out from Lee Hulk that a randomizer was being worked on by Don't Bagumi, so I hunted him down and made him make me a play tester, and the rest's history.
Excellent. All right, looks like all of our runners are cropped and ready to go. I'm looking at Neo's timer. It looks like it's going. Do we have a way to fix that, or I don't want to start this thing and have anybody start off in a bad spot. What do we think about this? Let me see if I can reach out to him on chat and see if he can see me.
Yeah, Symphonic, that does appear to be his local time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so thank you everybody for your patience while we get this technical stuff figured out. While we're waiting, though, we can talk about what we're about to see. So this is the Illusion of Gaia Randomizer. This is a project that I started developing almost about 2 years ago now, and it's it's attracted such a wonderful community of people. I would not have imagined starting this project, just how many quality folks would join and take part in it and would show interest in it. It's been one of the greatest and most fulfilling experiences of my life, and I'm so thankful for everybody who makes up this awesome community. So what this is the Illusion of Gaia, the game for the SNES, released in North America in 1994. And it's a game that I played as a kid and really enjoyed. A couple years ago, I looked to see if there's a randomizer for it, and indeed there was not. So I started making one. What's randomized in this game? Hey, here we go. All right, I think we're ready to go now with the timer. I'm going to go ahead and start the countdown. We're going to continue to talk about what this game is and what we're going to see. But items obviously are shuffled among locations. Abilities, there are 6 abilities in the game. Those are also shuffled among locations. We've also changed some of the mechanics of the game itself. The vanilla game is very linear, not very conducive to randomization. So we sort of had to turn it into a ROM hack, and then off of that ROM hack, make a randomizer. So it's more open world. Some of the key items have changed. We've made them custom for the randomizer to turn them into travel items that allow you to get from different continents and things like that. This is random start. So they're going to be starting not in South Cape like you normally would. They could start in South Cape, but they're going to start in a random location, which we'll find out very shortly. And it's Frisia. All right, so they're starting in Frisia. This is on the second continent that you would normally have access to. And they're just going to gather the free items here in this town. There are 5 of them. And then from here, they have access to a couple dungeons. There are 6 major dungeons in this game, each of which has a boss at the end, and which is the guardian of a mystic statue. In the vanilla game, you have to gather all 6 mystic statues. In this particular flag set for this randomizer, you only need to gather 3 of those statues. The 3 statues that are required are randomized. If you talk to the teacher in South Cape, the teacher will tell you which ones. So the players don't know at this point which bosses they're going to need to fight. But they'll find that out in short order, I'm sure. There are also 5 minor dungeons in the game, but those are also important because Kara, just like in the vanilla game, is trapped in a painting. You need magic dust in order to free her from that painting. And she could be at the end of one of the 5 minor dungeons in the game. So on this continent, there are 5 continents that we've separated into the game that you can travel among items in the continent. We also have Solar and Neo checking the jeweler. This is Jeweler Gem. He's a guy that shows up in all the towns. And you can turn in red jewels. There are 50 red jewels in the game. And in return, he'll give you some items. They just look at his inventory to see what he has. If you give him the most jewels that he asks for, then he sends you to the secret dungeon in the game, which is his mansion. And you can fight the final boss if you want to. That's kind of an alternate way to get to the 6th and final mystic statue. But the 2 dungeons they have access to here are Sky Garden and the Diamond Mine. We see Solar opting to go into Sky Garden first. This is usually the right call, just because of the way that the dungeons are laid out. Sky Garden is kind of put together it has a central hub, and then it has 4 rooms that go off of it. And so if you have to double dip and come back and get items later that you couldn't get in the beginning, it's not too punishing. It's usually best to go there first. Diamond Mine does have 2 branches, but one of the branches is very long, and it has some gates at the end, some logic gates at the end that are kind of punishing if you have to come back. It looks like we're syncing up the streams. Looks like we had kind of a long delay in getting everybody off the ground. So it looks like we're now synced up, so we can see what everybody is up to. We see Mia here checking a hint. There are 11 hints throughout the game, NPCs that will tell you the locations of certain items throughout the game. And those hints can be very, very helpful, and they can be very, very unhelpful. All right, already we have some divergence. We see Mia opting to go first into Diamond Mine. Solar chose to first go into Nazca. And we see Neo getting Psycho Slider pretty early.
He's probably having a massive sigh that he didn't do a couple of checks here before getting that.
Why are you saying that, Weldon? Why don't you explain what that means?
So until fairly recently, once you got Psycho Slider, there's a few tricks that people do in the speedrun that you can no longer do, mainly jumping up the ramps in the room Neo is currently in. A trick we recently discovered that means you can use the unequipped text box that comes up on the screen to move a single frame, and so you can still do that trick when you have Slider, but it's still pretty hardwired into people that you don't want Slider yet.
Yeah, let's see if Neo is able to text box mash through this thing. It's kind of a tricky way to do it. So you can see Solar on the right. He doesn't have Slider yet, and he's able to just get right over those ramps. Neo's having a little harder time of it. Oh, he got it. There's one. Let's see if he can get the other one. Text buffering is a newer tech that has been discovered and is being used in the speedrun. The speedrun for this vanilla game, if you're interested in this game, has just exploded in the last couple months, especially. There have been new skips that have been found, new tech that's been found. It's just been, I mean, we went from having 2 categories to now having, I think, 6 categories for the speedrun, just because of all the new stuff that's been found. And it's just really crazy. So if you're interested in this game, if you're interested in speedrunning, I recommend checking out some VODs. Seeing what it's all about, because it's been a crazy couple of months for this game.
Yeah, and if you really want to steal that tech being put into practice, SolarCell has just taken the All Bosses World Record, which features, I think, 4 or 5 of the new skip that was just found. It's actually a warp found by Herosoft. It's quite an impressive feat of planning around the map, and yeah, give it a check. I think Fee did most of the route though. Fee-kun.
Yeah, Fikun. Shout outs to her. Yeah, there's a Fikun, SolarCell, Mr. Freet. These are some of the big names right now in the vanilla speedrun that are really pioneering this new tech. Where essentially, we'll probably have a chance to explain it later. But long story short, we found a way in the vanilla game. I say we, even though I had nothing to do with it, but they found a way. Ooh, there's magic dust that Mia found. So that's nice. That's nice to have early. I'll explain why in a minute. But essentially, there's a memory overload thing that happens to where sprite information bleeds over into the part of RAM that determines where you need to warp as part of a map transition. And so, with some very specific movements and setups, you can warp essentially anywhere in the game. Anyway, so I mentioned it being good that they found the magic dust early there. I mentioned earlier that Kara is stuck in a painting and she can be at the end of one of the 5 minor dungeons. We don't know where she is yet. If the players find Lance's letter, then Lance's letter will tell them exactly where she is, but she could be at the end of Edward's prison. She could be at the end of Diamond Mine, which is where SolarCell is right now. She could be at the end of Angel Village, which is where she is in the vanilla game. She could be at the end of Mount Crest or at the end of Angkor Wat. And if you get to the very end of one of those minor dungeons and you don't have the magic dust to free her, then that can be a very punishing double dip, having to go back into having to go back into the end of that dungeon in order to free her later on, because that is a required condition for the end of the game. We see Mia picking up Psycho Slider in Sky Garden. We see Neo after having tried to do the slider ramp glitch, which is very difficult. He's opting to do this room the vanilla way, which you can see why he was avoiding doing that, because it's a rather costly thing going back and forth.
It blew my mind the first time I saw Skip in this room in this speedrun, because when I first played this game at 5 years old, this room was a constant nightmare for me. I could never work out where I was and how I needed to do it.
Yeah, it's a great concept for level design, just having the 2 sides, the top side and the bottom side, and everything's mirrored. It's a lot of people's favorite dungeon in the game, and I can see why. Solar is having finished with Sky Garden with everything he can do. There are 2 rooms. Let's see, there are 8 items in Sky Garden. 3 of those items are locked behind Freedan abilities. And so if you don't have those abilities, you can't complete those rooms. We see Solar going into Diamond Mine. This is a gamble for him. In order to complete this route that he's on right now, he needs either Dark Friar or Spin Dash. He has neither. He's counting on, he has 1 more dark space he can check here, and he's counting on finding one of those abilities here in this dark space. If he doesn't, then he either has to leave this item forever or have to come back and do all of this again. So this is quite a gamble. Let's see if it pays off. Oh, it might. It might.
It has to be Friar.
It could be. It could be Earthquake.
It has to be. No, it needs to be a progression move. Because he's got no way to progress off the continent if he doesn't get the last check here.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I haven't been counting checks, but yeah, you're right. Okay. So I guess that was the right move to do then, because you have no other choice, like you said. So he's happy to see Dark Friar there. That's an important ability in the game. You see 6 abilities on the tracker. Why did he die there? I think that was a mistake. He should have gone back and gotten that item. Oh, you see him. He's frustrated. He's realizing his mistake now. He's deciding to nope out. He's going to leave that last item. So let's hope that wasn't a required item, or let's hope.
Sorry, I was mistaken. Solar has Memory Melody already.
Oh, okay. So that was a gamble. Well, it paid off, but he made a tactical error there in opting to Death Warp out of habit instead of going for that item. I'll be interested to see when the other runners get there what that item is. But anyway, Memory Melody is one of those items that we changed. We gave it custom functionality in the randomizer. That's one of the travel items. It unlocks Neil, who's like the inventor in the game. He invented a airplane, but in the randomizer we made it to where he forgot how to fly it, and so if you play the Memory Melody for him, he can now fly you all over the world. Solar using that immediately to go to Babel Tower to get 2 items and check a dark space. We have some nice sync here between Neo and Mia. They're both in this one room in Sky Garden. Going to check this dark space over here. It looks like this is where you get Slagger. Okay. Let's change our music over to Solar, who's exploring new territory. He's in Euro right now. Euro has a few checks that he's going through right now. He can't get all the items here because he doesn't have the apple. You need an apple in order to give that apple to Anne, and she'll give you an item. Okay, so being in Euro, this is the North Continent. This is essentially the 4th out of the 5 continents that you would have access to. On this continent are Natives Village. Also, you have 2 minor dungeons. Actually, there are no major dungeons on this continent. Mount Crest and Angkor Wat, both of which could have Kara at the end of them. Do you remember where Spin Dash was, Wilden? It looks like Solar doesn't have it yet, so he's still checking dark spaces for Will.
It looks like it was room 4 of Sky Garden.
Okay, so even though it looks like Solar is ahead, he does have some cleanup to do in the areas that he left. He has that one item that he missed in Diamond Mine, and it looks like he opted instead of going into the rooms that he couldn't complete and checking the dark spaces. He decided to not check those rooms at all, hoping that he's going to find Dark Friar, which he did. So he'll be going back to clean those up later, and that's when he'll get Spin Dash. And then once he does, he'll have all the abilities that he needs. There are 6 abilities, 3 for Will, 3 for Freedan. Only 3 of those are really useful, especially for runners of the caliber that we're seeing here today. Psycho Dash is the first will ability you typically get in the game, but it turns out that anything that Psycho Dash can do, Slider or Spin can do it better. So once you have Slider and Spin, there's no need to keep looking for moves for will. And then for Freedan, Dark Friar is by far the only move you need for him. If you get Aura Barrier before Dark Friar, there are a couple checks you can make in Sky Garden. And if you get Earthquaker, there's exactly one place that's useful to use it in Angkor Wat.
You can also use it in the pyramid to do the Killer 6 room to get there. Use an Earthquaker to bring some rocks down from the sky. But that's probably not a good method of going.
That's silly. Fun fact, there is a way that the game could require you to do that. If you choose extreme difficulty and you choose unsafe or forced unsafe start, the game could start you in the bottom of the pyramid, which means that you would have access to all the stuff that you would normally need Shadow unlock in order to access. So the game could give you could give you Earthquaker in that dark space and force you to do Killer 6. That is possible. But again, you'd have to pick pretty crazy seeds for that to be a thing.
So we've just seen Maya and Neo grab the item at the end of Diamond Mine that Solar had missed, and it was a red jewel. So when Solar does eventually go back to make that check that he was so frustrated for forgetting, he's just going to get double frustration.
Yeah, I imagine Solar will probably not go back. As long as you have other options, that's too punishing of a check to go back and do, unless you absolutely have to. So I think Solar won't be punished for, is not likely to be punished for his error there.
I think there's a fair chance. A lot of these seeds I've done when practicing for this competition, I found near the end of the seed you'll go in between checks of just one item. Right. One item check will take you to a one item check, so he might decide to go back there at the end of the game. We'll have to see.
It's really interesting to see how it seems that Solar's strategy here is taking free checks in places and hoping that he has what he needs to progress and then moving on, rather than full clearing areas as he can get it. It's a decent strategy. We'll see if it pays off. I was noticing him there in the pyramid getting that item. It was taking him a little longer because he didn't have Spin Dash, which if he had cleared everything that he could, when he could, in Sky Garden, he would have Spin Dash and that would have been a lot faster. So it's really anyone's game at this point. It's going to be interesting to see how these choices pay off or not.
He always tells me to check all the possible dark space checks I can do, and now he does that.
Well, he doesn't follow his own advice, so either he's giving advice that he knows is bad, or Solar, please. Okay, so Solar has made his way to the first continent. This is where you normally start the game. Feedors, please. And he's probably going to talk to the teacher right now and find out what statues we need for this seed. There are 3 statues, 1, 2, and 6. So that means that the bosses he'll be fighting are Castoff at the end of Inca Ruins. He'll be fighting Viper at the end of Sky Garden. And Statue 6, there's a couple ways to get there. The intended way is to climb the Tower of Babel, which is a boss rush. It takes a long time to do all that. So he'll probably be opting to go the other strategy, which is to gather all the red jewels he needs to go to the Jeweler's Mansion, fight Solid Arm, and that'll take him to the top of the Tower of Babel. It's a riskier strategy because everything hurts in the mansion. Mia making quick work of those enemies with 1 hit to go. So good job there, taking an herb. I think that's a good choice. But yeah, so doing Solid Arm to get Statue 6 is riskier, but it is faster. And we have some strats that have been developed recently to make that Solid Arm fight quite a bit more free. Weldon, did you happen to see from Jeweler how many jewels we need to get to the mansion?
So from the Jeweler, you get red jewels for 2 and 6. You get a herb for 7 red jewels, Mushroom Drops at 14, Lola's Letter for more travel destinations at 16, Gorgon Flower at 32, and Jeweler's Mansion is at 37 for this one.
37 is very low. There are 50 red jewels in the game, and in the vanilla game, you need to find all 50 red jewels in order to get to the secret dungeon, which is kind of a pain if you're playing this game casually. You know, some of those locations are really trolly, and because the game is so linear, there's not a lot of backtracking. If you miss a location, you pretty much miss it forever.
Yeah, the original game actually came with a little paper walkthrough that told you where every single red jewel was, and I'm fairly sure it would have been impossible to make those checks without that guide.
Even the guide itself, I remember, especially the alley guy in Frisia. It shows you the picture of where he is, but it took me so long to get there. You have to jump down into the planter and then jump back out, and I'm like, how did you get to this guy?
The main one I remember is the pyramid one, where it just shows you a picture of the pyramid, and it's like, oh yeah, sink down through the floor to find a red jewel. Great.
Thanks, game. All right, so Neo is going into Angkor Wat, which is the last minor dungeon of the game. Kara could be here. He has everything he needs. He has all 3 abilities, and that's really all you need to get to the end. You're required by logic to have the black glasses, but just like Link to the Past Randomizer, in the dark rooms, if you know the layout of the rooms, you don't need the glasses. You can get through, no problem. So I think Neo's going to get to the end of this. We'll see what he gets.
Logic would also want you to have Earthquaker or more Friar upgrades, I believe.
Oh, you're right. That's right.
So it's possible to do without them.
Yeah, this is pretty much the one place where Earthquaker could be required. But if you have Dark Friar, there's a way to skip that section. And I think Neo will certainly be doing that. This is interesting. Solar's going into the prison. He got the prison key somewhere. This is another location Kara could be. However, he can only do half of this dungeon. In order to get the other half, he needs to have Lily with him. For those familiar with the original game, Lily has the ability to turn into a flower and accompanies Will in his pocket. So we've incorporated that into the randomizer. There are a couple checks that require Lily in order to get past, and you gain access to her by finding Lola's Melody, which gives you access to Itori Village, where she resides. And you have to have the necklace, which if you give her, she will accompany you. So Solar is dipping into... Oh, getting trolled by the spear there. Getting trolled by both spears! Okay, anyway, so he has one more item that he can check here. But he may have to come back after he gets Lily. So this is another sort of a gamble that he's taking, hoping he doesn't have to come back here. I'd like to change audio to Neo because Angkor Wat is my favorite music of the game. So because I'm in control, everybody has to listen to what I want to listen to.
I do also have the controls, but Bagu is quite correct. This is some spectacular music.
All the music, there's not a bad track in the game. Just the composer for this game, I believe this is the only game project that he ever did. And the music is just so unique. And, part of me wishes that we had more stuff from him that we could enjoy.
Yeah, and even after I've been playing this game for more than 20 years at this point, I believe it was on a practice seed I ran yesterday where I really listened to the pyramid music. And that's so much better than I've ever realised before, still hearing new things.
It's hard when you're a kid to enjoy the music, especially with these later dungeons that can be so annoying to get through. I listen to that pyramid music a lot because it's a large dungeon. It takes a while to get through. It's very difficult as a kid, especially. And so I feel like I kind of got burnt out on it. We see Neo here, by the way, doing the Earthquaker skip. You're supposed to have Earthquaker to jump down and stun this enemy, but with some specific movement, you can use Dark Friar to get him out of the way instead. There you go. With these low stats, it takes several hits to get past him, but Neo did it no problem. All right, so since Neo is in Angkor Wat, we can talk about this dungeon in particular. This is the only minor dungeon in the game that has its own custom music. And it's very large. It actually has 2 checkpoints in the dungeon. It looks like Neo is backtracking and coming back the way he came. Why is he doing that? Well, he just set a checkpoint at that exit right there. So when he death warps after getting this item, he warps back to that area. That's a crystal ball. He needs those, so that's nice.
Only
And
dungeon in the game with checkpoints put in, so if you die, you don't go back to the start. Very
Exactly.
unique, this dungeon.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice that it changes him into Will because he needs Slider, which is a Will exclusive move, in order to progress through the rest of this dungeon. So that's a nice speedrunner strat for this room that he's employing here. All right, Solar, in the meantime. Oh yeah, I was wondering why he wasn't going to go through the dungeon. So he's in the Angel Dungeon right now. You need Slider in order to get to the very end of it, and there's quite a few checks here, so I think this is a good move on his behalf. Kara could be at the end of this. We don't know yet.
Yeah, he has the magic dust, so any minor dungeon is a good idea at this point, if you can finish it at least.
Now, for this race, the seed settings that we have for these seeds, one of the options that we have checked is early Firebird. Firebird in the vanilla game is the final attack upgrade that you get, and it's the only attack upgrade that you get for Shadow, who is your 3rd fighting form. And it's a ranged attack, and in the vanilla game, you only get it for the final battle. You only get it when you fight Dark Gaia. However, in the randomizer, shoutouts to Raven Zero for his amazing custom ASM work for this. But he was able to make it so that... Oh, there's Lance's letter. Let's see, Solar on the screen. Diamond Mine. Samlet Seed. We'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, so he was able to make it so that we can use Firebird anywhere. And so there's a setting in the game where if you get the crystal ring and if you free Kara, then you can use Firebird anywhere on any screen. And it really trivializes some of the more difficult parts of the world. So we do have that set on this seed. So if those requirements are met for any of our runners, we may see some early Firebird action. All right, so I mentioned Samlet. Who is Samlet, you may ask? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Samlet is sort of the unofficial mascot of the randomizer. So one of the more difficult parts of this project was making it so that Kara's portrait can show up in different places rather than what she's intended to do. In this game, you can't have sprites from different sprite sets on the map at the same time. Killer 6 has Crystal Ring. Solar just got that hint from an NPC.
I would not expect to see any early Firebirds after that.
That's a good point, because Crystal Ring, even though it's... Oh, Neo takes a bad death there in Angkor Wat. Oof.
I believe that was intentional. He's already been to the Spirit.
He needs to go back and get this drop-down chest, though, I think.
No, we got that at the Aura in.
Oh, okay. Well, I could be wrong. All right, maybe that was intentional.
He's just going to go back to the dark space and teleport, it looks like.
Okay, well, never mind. What do I know? I don't know anything about this game.
You only made it.
Anyway, so that doesn't mean anything. So it wasn't a big deal making Kara show up at the end of the other dungeons, but Diamond Mine is different. When Kara shows up in Diamond Mine, she shares a screen with an NPC who in the vanilla game is a laborer, and that laborer gives you an item. So it's not like you can just get rid of that NPC. But because of the limitations of the game, you can't have a laborer and Kara's portrait on the map at the same time. So I got creative and I looked at the sprite set that was shared by Kara's portrait, and I saw that there was a Hamlet on there. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just change Sam to Samlet, and that'll be our item. Well, that messed up the palettes, and Hamlet turned blue. But I'm colorblind, so I didn't notice. And so it wasn't until the playtesters got to that area, they were like, why is there a blue Hamlet on this page? And I'm like, I don't know. And so, yeah, Samlet's everyone's favorite. So shout outs to Samlet. We'll get to see him at some point in this run because everyone's going to have to go rescue Kara from that room. All right, Neo's making his way through South Cape. He's going to find out now which statues are required. Solar's been here already. Solar is actually going through Mew at the moment, which also has good music. We're going to switch over to his stream. He does have a Statue of Hope, which is pretty excellent. This is kind of this was the most confusing dungeon for me as a kid to go through. This is kind of like IOG's version of the Water Temple from Zelda Ocarina of Time, where you have water raising and lowering, and it unlocks new areas, and you have to keep track of where you've been and backtrack. And the Statues of Hope are the keys that allow you to lower the water and access new areas. This particular path that you're going through, you have access to 3 items that you could get at any time you have access to it. However, on the way, you can set this Statue of Hope. And so it's really nice to wait until you have a Statue of Hope before you do this, so you don't have to do it all again, even though the game could require you to do that.
Yeah, because when you get the second Statue of Hope, you place that right in the entrance to Mew. So if you have one Statue of Hope coming into here, it's not really a time loss to do it.
Exactly. Compare that with, say, Mount Crest, which is very linear. You know, and if you have to double dip Mount Crest, you pretty much have to pass by everything you've already done in order to get further down into the dungeon. And so that's pretty punishing if you know, it looks like our Solar and Neo both have 2 mushroom drops out of the 3. So if they ever decide to go into Mount Crest, they can clear at least a bunch of it. Man, it's so interesting how Solar still does not have Spin Dash. He hasn't found his way back to Sky Garden in order to get that.
But from his items, it seems like he is still fairly far progressed. Looking at those 29 red jewels mainly.
Now, why is he going over here?
He still needs to check dark spaces for Spin Dash.
Well, this dark space... Oh, he must be warping, because this dark space... Oh, maybe not. That dark space can't have an ability. I don't know why he's checking it.
He must not know.
Or maybe he thinks he's playing Chaos. If you're playing Chaos Logic, there are some rules that Logic follows. There are certain dark spaces that will never have abilities because you're required to have... If a dark space has an ability, that means you can't use it to transform. And you might have to have access to some of Freedom's abilities in order to, you know, progress through certain dungeons. And so certain dark spaces won't allow you to have an ability in it. And that's one of them. The game, we think, requires you to have Dark Friar in order to progress through this layer if you don't have Slider. So we've kept that open for the time being. Solar is going this long way around to get this one item check, which is the vanilla location of the second Statue of Hope. Oh, he's also going to check this dark space, which is not going to have anything useful for him, unfortunately. And then on the way back, he'll probably get that item, which is kind of far out of the way, but it is very punishing if it happens to be something important and he doesn't get it. So we'll see what he decides to do. Oh, Neo is in Inca right now. More good music in the game. Let's move over to his stream so that we can listen. Inca is the first major dungeon in the game. You need a will move and a diamond block in order to get to the place where he is right now. Ooh, Neo, that's an interesting strat. I wonder if you can actually do that. There's a head right there. In the vanilla speedrun. Okay, backing up. The game intends you to have free Dan for that part so that his longer sword can reach that guy and you can progress. However, if you don't have Slider, similar to before, you can use Will and just barely, you know, get past it without having to turn into free Dan and save some time. Neo does have slider, so he was opting to use, I think, what could be a viable strat of actually hitting another enemy into the hitbox of that enemy. I think if he had a lower strength, that would have worked, but yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't seen that before. I'll have to look into that more. Ooh, he does have aura. Ooh, this is fun. Okay.
So now we should hopefully get to see a skip that's exclusive to Shadow, because where Shadow is programmed into the game at such a late stage, they didn't code him properly to climb ladders.
That's true.
So you will see there is a ladder just outside you can climb, and if you climb to the top and then descend it, he doesn't get off the ladder, he'll keep going down through the floor, and you can skip a couple of screens and just quickly run back to get the one item you would have missed.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
I always try and do it when I play. Let's hope Neo shows it off for us after he gets the Wind Melody item.
I'm sure he will. I think Neo's the one that found this in the first place, so I'd be very surprised if he didn't show it off for us. And I think I think he found an even faster way to do it. You don't have to climb all the way to the top, but we'll see. Ooh, he gets the necklace from the singing statue. The singing statue almost always has nothing, so it's nice to see it get some love. Alright, meanwhile, Mia's making his way through Cress. Takes a death there, which is, it's not too punishing, it's a little unfortunate, but it's actually not too bad, because he was already kind of deep in a wing of the...
Sorry, I was just going to say, if you'd watch now, Neo's going through the floor.
There he is. Good job, Shadow. Now, that same mechanic can kind of backfire on you later. If they're going to be fighting Cast-Off later on, and you have to climb down these ladders in order to set the Inca statues in order to get access to that boss. One of the ladders in particular, it's so situated so that if you go down as Shadow and you just keep holding down, you'll just keep going down forever and ever, and actually eventually wrap to the top of the screen and keep going down. So you have to kind of finesse it a little bit. Oh, Solar is going through... oh, goodness. Solar not having Spin Dash is, I think, really hurting him in some ways, and this is one of them. Well, maybe not, because he doesn't need Statue 4. Anyway, you need Spin Dash in Great Wall in order to get to the very end to fight the boss. But you can get access to all the items in the dark spaces without Spin Dash. So we'll see if he actually goes deep enough into this dungeon to check that final dark space. Still looking for that Spin Dash, which we know is in Sky Garden. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what he's going to choose to do here. Oh, that's a costly death by Mia there in Mount Cress. Looks like he's just going to nope out. Come back and try later. And on Neo's screen, we have him using the Wind Melody to show the glowing tile you have to stand on for 10 seconds. This tile is random. In the game, it's always the same one. Oh, that's show off. Neo has developed and perfected a strat to where you can stand on a perfect pixel and wait for 10 seconds, and you can be standing simultaneously on 4 of those tiles. And so there is a legitimate strat to where if you want to go through this, go through that, doing that, it could be on average about 1.5 minutes, as much as 3 minutes. If the Wind Melody is the last thing you need, you can skip having to get it and just brute force standing in that room.
It is a little bit of a controversial tactic in the community at the moment. About half the people like it and half the people don't. I fall into the category of people that don't, but...
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It doesn't necessarily make for compelling gameplay, I guess, is the main is the main issue. We see Mia here in Angkor Wat trying to battle these bugs. These bugs, for whatever reason, in the vanilla game, they have much beefier stats than the other bugs in this dungeon, and so that's kind of a bottleneck area right there. But he gets through by the skin of his teeth.
And we can see solarcell. He's not going to fight Samfanger. He's going to check the dark space because he's still missing Spin Dash.
Yeah, this is what I thought he would do. So yeah, here's so Solar is flying through this thing. He's executing well. I mean, he's the world record holder for many categories in this game, so it's not surprising.
But you can see really how missing a couple of checks right at the start of the game is starting to really punish him now.
Exactly, because he's making checks this is a very long check to go get this one dark space, and he's hoping that Spin Dash is here, but he wouldn't have to go here at all if he had Spin Dash to begin with. Yeah, you can see this room. He has to hit all these clay soldiers, and there's 6 of them in this room that he has to kill, and their HP is not. They got a lot of health, as you can see, so it takes a little while to clear this room out.
He is making full use of his upgraded Friar, though. Very nice execution.
Ooh, that was a nice use of Friar right there. I predict we're going to see some rage slashes when he gets into this dark space and finds nothing of use.
I wish we could hear what was going on in his room right now.
Bagu!
So, what Bagu may not tell you about the randomizer, but is customary in the community. If anything ever goes wrong inside the randomizer, it's Bagu's fault. You blame Bagu. Whatever happens, Bagu's fault.
I mean, accurate. I even have an emo for it. Alright, so now solarcell's finally going back to Sky Garden to clear it out. He's going to find his Spin Dash at long last. In the meantime, let's look at where we are, and Solar pulling off the text buffered ramp glitch with slider. Kudos for that. Let's look at what we have and talk about go mode. What do the players need to complete this seed? So statue 1 is required. That means we're going to need the wind melody, which Neo already found. Yeah, the diamond block wind melody. We need both Inca statues. It looks like Neo and Solar both have one of those 2. So they're going to need to find that last Inca statue.
Neo also has the wind melody, which Solar doesn't.
Yes.
Can't remember where that was picked up.
Right. Yeah, we saw him use that a minute ago. They need statue 2, which is Viper. They're going to need 4 crystal balls. Looks like Neo has the most crystal balls right now at 2. So he'll need to find 2 more. And then statue 6, we're going to need... we're probably going to see them go by way of the secret dungeon, by way of Solid Arm, because that's 37 jewels to get there is not very much. Solar is already at 30 jewels right now, so it's not too much longer before he has access to that area.
And
did Solar
Solar
not check this dark space?
He must have. No, he needs to get Freedom back, I believe.
Oh, yeah, you can see he already put the cage down, so this is where he has to... Okay, that makes sense. He has to transform here. Anyway, so once they get enough red jewels, they can get statue 6. Again, intended, you're supposed to have the crystal ring, which it looks like no. Well, crystal ring is that killer 6, and so I don't think anybody's going to get there. But you're intended to have the crystal ring and aura, and then use that to climb Tower of Babel. Neo's the only one that has aura at this point. For our last seed that we saw run in the race, Pyramid normally is a good place to go. It has 11 checks that are locked behind the aura, and that's almost 10% of the whole item pool of the entire game. And so there's almost always something useful in Pyramid. The last seed was the exception to that rule. in that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was, long story short, it was a situation where the pyramid had absolutely nothing.
Imagine doing
kind of a
11
shame.
checks and it all being useless.
Yep. Alright, so Neo's making his way into Angel Dungeon. I'm going to switch over to Solar's because he's over here in Sky Garden, which has fantastic music.
And you would have just seen a very nice text buffer around the statue sword, which means Solar can then use the statue sword for his Death Warp, which is quicker. It does more damage than the other enemies in the dungeon.
That's true. That's text buffering is a relatively new strat. Shoutouts to LaHulk for being the first one to utilize it, and also to folks like Mr. Freed for applying it in other areas of the game. Yeah, Solar's just showing off at this point, doing these text buffer ramp glitches when it would just only take a second and a half or so to just walk around and do it normally. Okay, is this where we get spin dash, you think?
No, he's already got spin dash. He got it in room 4. That's why he had to go back to room 3 to transform into free down.
That's right. Okay, so now all of our runners have all of the moves that they need to complete this game. Mia looks like is struggling through the Anchor-Watt dungeon, which is, or the Anchor-Watt garden, which has meme status for being rather difficult. If you choose unsafe start as a mode, then the game can start you in this garden, which means every time you walk back to start, you have to fight your way out of the garden, which I find personally delightful when other people have to do it.
From what I've heard, they are an accurate representation of Cambodian. Is it Cambodian fruit flies?
Something like that, yeah.
They're a very accurate representation in the game of what they're like in real life, so that's fun. But yeah, the flies in the garden just fly around in random directions, do a lot of damage, and ruin your day.
Yeah, they can just come on from off screen and just, snipe you for no reason.
Unpopular enemies. It starts out with the flies in the Garden of Angkor-Wat. I'd say closely followed by the flashers in Mew.
Oh yeah. Well, Solar is going back to get that item now. Oh wait, no, he's not. He has the elevator key. Never mind, I'm wrong. Okay, so Diamond Mine has 2 paths that you can take right off the bat. The second path here is locked behind the elevator key. In case you're wondering, that elevator is sped up from the vanilla version. It's not that fast normally. But there are 2 checks you can get behind here. I do wonder if, since he's here, he'll go back and get that item he missed earlier. I'm curious to see what his choices will be. That just had a red jewel, didn't it?
And if you've been watching Maya, you will see fruit flies ruining their day.
Yep.
And yes, if Solar does go for the check he missed in Diamond Mine, it will be a red jewel. And you'll probably see some more frustrated slashes.
My favorite kind of slashes. Oh, he's going for it. Alright, so he's going to run as quick as he can to the very end of this very long portion here, just to get a red jewel. Wow, the routing choices, differences in these runners has been very, very interesting to watch. Alright, so Neo wrapping up Angel Dungeon. He's cleared it out.
So looking at the items between Neo and Solar, they do seem to be very close at the moment.
Yeah, when did Neo free Kara? Did he do that? No, he couldn't have done that. I'm reading his tracker wrong. He needs the other mine key in order to even access. It looks like Solar was able to pick up the elevator key. Neo has not found it yet.
I didn't catch what the elevator key, what the 2 items were. Were they important?
I don't think they were. Red jewel. Frustrated
And
slashes in 3, 2, 1. Oh no. Okay.
I'm still
A
gonna
boy can
call that.
dream.
I'm gonna call that an angry death warp.
All right. So it looks like it's. I'd say it's really anyone's game at this point, but I think Solar and Neo are the front runners for sure. Yeah, they both made different choices, made different routing decisions. We'll see who it ends up paying off for the most.
So Solar's just got his final item from the jeweler before he gets to go to the mansion. That's the Gorgon flower, which gives him 1 extra check in Native's village.
Yeah, it looks like I think he's 2 jewels away from getting to go to the mansion.
Yes, he is, and that will give him his first required statue if that's the order he chooses to do it.
It also gives him 1 item that's in the mansion, which, regardless of whether you need that statue or not, could be required in a seed.
Yes, like it was in the last seed of the tournament.
Yep.
So now we're seeing Solar Cell do Inca, which Neo's already done. So we know he's going to find the necklace here, and because he already has Lola's Melody, he'll be able to go and rescue Lily, which means he'll be able to finish off Edward's prison and get an extra check in Seaside Palace, which I don't believe anyone has visited yet.
I believe you're correct. It'd be interesting to see if he chooses to go back through the prison at this point, because again, he did take a risk and go through half of it earlier. It's a bit punishing to go back and just for 2 checks at the end. But we'll see if he chooses to do that or not. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad decision since he's already here on this continent.
It looks like Neo's just going to get Lily now, and he's also been in the prison at least once because he's got the door unlocked icon. So I think we might see Neo go back and finish prison at this point.
Have we seen anybody? You know what? Oh, we have seen Solar and Neo go into Seaside Palace. I see that the door is open on the tracker. Alright, Neo getting Crystal Ball in Atori Village. I can't tell from the stream, how many Crystal Balls does that give him right now?
So Neo's on all 4 crystal balls, Solar only has 1, and Maya has 2. So we're probably going to see Neo go and fight Viper after he has finished Edward's prison.
That would be my guess as well. Fighting bosses in this game gives you ability upgrades. In the vanilla game, there's a mechanic to where most rooms that have enemies, if you clear out all the enemies on a map, you get either an HP, a defense, or a strength upgrade for clearing that room. To make this game more open world, we reduced the number of upgrades that you can get to kind of flatten everything out. You can check the start menu to see if there's a pulsating force, which would indicate that there is something that you can get for clearing the enemies. But just like in the vanilla game, this is a mechanic I didn't know existed as a kid and would very much have liked to have known about. If you defeat the boss, you get caught up on all of the upgrades that you may have missed. And that makes the speedrun even possible, because clearing out rooms is very slow and tedious to do. But speedrunners just skip them all, just like they're doing mostly here. So they're counting on bosses to get them most of their stat upgrades. So if you fight Viper, you get all the upgrades from the Diamond Mine and from Sky Garden. You also get warped directly to the Seaside Palace, which is a quick way to get that check that Lily opens up by checking the coffin. So that'd be a nice routing for Neo to take. And if I were to guess, that'd be my guess of what his routing is going on in his head right now.
So we just saw Solar fail a trick that he really should have succeeded in. It's probably one of the first every speedrunner learns. When you kill an enemy that opens up a new path and it has to unblock it, you've actually got to hit select and come back out of that menu, and it automatically puts it there while the animation is happening. And you would have seen Solar run into a wall because he forgot to do it. Very embarrassing.
Embarrassing indeed.
I mean,
is this
it wouldn't
why
be
you agreed to
embarrassing for
commentate this race, Wilden, so that you could cast shade at Solar while he races?
Definitely factored in.
Yeah.
Although he is the world record holder in multiple categories, you would really expect to see such a simple trick done. I wouldn't say anything of the type about to Neo or Maya if they failed that. It'd be perfectly understandable.
Solar. Okay, so Solar decides he's skipping an item, isn't he? Solar
Did he not go to the last Red Jewel location with the dark space?
No. Yeah, he opened up that ladder and immediately left. So I don't remember what Neo found there.
According to Z in chat, he missed the wind melody, which is probably going to impact checks he does late game before going back.
Oh goodness, this is so interesting. Yeah, so again, we're seeing this tactic of kind of skipping punishing checks and hoping that going to maybe greener pastures where you can get a higher density of checks elsewhere. But we've seen it maybe a couple times kind of negatively affect Solar's route through the rest of the seed. I'm very curious to know how this works out.
Solar just getting his third crystal ball.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about go mode again. So Neo has all 4 crystal balls. He's gonna right now fight Viper and get his second Mystic statue. Let's go ahead and switch over to his stream so we can enjoy this awesome boss music. This will be the first Mystic statue that anybody gets in this race. Alright, so beating Viper will warp him directly to the Seaside Palace. And he has a check there that he can do now that he has Lily, so I think that's probably what we'll see him do.
We can see Solar going back into Edward's prison for the second time. Now he has Lily in the necklace.
Not a bad move. Okay, I don't think have we seen anybody do the pyramid yet?
I know Neo's had access to it. I can't remember seeing him in there, but I assume he would have. It would only make sense.
Yeah. Well, we see Mia here in Dao, so he's right close to the pyramid, and he has the aura. We'll see if he opts to go check it out. In the meantime, we have Neo going for that coffin check. There's a hint that he can check, and there's also an item that he can get.
This very useful hint there.
Yep, see, there you go. Oh, we're talking about puns in the chat? It's a shame that we're not fighting Sandfinger this seed. Otherwise, we would have some excellent egg puns to use. And if you think that we used all of our egg puns up in the last race, you would be wrong-o.
For once, I'm glad I wasn't on chat to hear them.
Oh, we all know you're going to go back and watch the VOD. Okay, so the first item that Solar is going back to get was an herb, so not very helpful. I don't remember what Neo got in this last item, but Solar will now discover whether this double dip into the prison paid off or not. Neo getting a vanilla empty chest. And a red jewel, so not really worth it.
That is quite useful to him at the moment, though, because he must be basically able to fight Solid Arm.
That is true. I mean, between that and the red jewel that he got at the end of Diamond Mine, that might end up being useful. Yeah, the 35
and indeed,
jewels on
we
the
are about
tracker.
to see Solar go into Jeweler's Mansion.
Yeah, the 35 on the tracker does not only includes the jewels that have been turned in. They don't include any jewels that are in his inventory. It looks like he has just enough to get him into the mansion for this seed. So everything hurts in the mansion. He's taking a safety herb. There's an item that he can get at the end of it. There's also Solid Arm that he will probably be fighting because he needs to get Statue 6. He won't get any stat upgrades, though. The way that we did it is, in order to get the stat upgrades for this boss, you need to do it legit, which means going through the Babel boss rush. Doing Solid Arm is faster and riskier, but you end up paying for it because you don't get the stat upgrades. So that's the trade-off that you get.
Solar's
Solar.
supply of herbs coming in handy.
Well, he's not going to be doing Killer 6, so there's not a lot of reason to be holding on to those herbs. Shoutouts to stackable herbs, by the way. A real game changer when it comes to inventory management in this game, which is already a bear. Oh my goodness, we had a Hope statue in that chest in the last seed, too. Very interesting. Fix your game, Bagu. Alright, Solar. Show us some solid strats for Solid Arm.
And that is how to trivialize the hardest boss fight in the game.
Yep. Somewhere a 10-year-old Bagu is weeping quietly. Oh, Symph, we all know that 50 Red Jewel Mansion with progression means an angel gets its wings. Shoutouts to the movie Tombstone, by the way. If you haven't noticed, all of Gem/Solid Arm's quotes are quotes from Doc Holliday from the movie Tombstone. Why did he not get the 6th? Oh, he's going back to get it.
So now both Neo and Solar are both on one required statue each. Although Neo can get a second already, it would appear.
Oh, you're right. Does this mean it's go mode for Neo?
I'm not sure about his red jewel count. I don't know how many he's got in his inventory at the moment, but I can't imagine he's got 6 yet.
And he also needs 2 keys to get to Kara in the Diamond Mine.
That's true. He does also need the 2 keys.
Yeah, Solar found the elevator key somewhere, and Neo doesn't have it yet. But both of them need to find the second mine key in order to get to where Kara is. So I think that's go mode. Neo can get Mystic Statue 1. Once he finds enough red jewels, he can get Mystic Statue 6.
And he just found the elevator key, so he only needs Mine Key B.
There it is. Mine Key B plus a handful of red jewels, and Neo has everything he needs to beat this seed. Yeah, we have no idea where that last mine key is. No one's found it yet. Where would you like to see it, Wilden? Let your inner troll come out. Where do you want to see that last key show up?
Now, normally my gut instinct would be Gold Ship, but seeing as Castoff is a required boss for this seed, I don't think that's quite as fun.
Yeah, agreed.
I quite like Z's suggestion of top of Cress because everyone loves going to the top of Cress.
Naturally, Cress is a solid choice for trolls. Yep, I think that's probably what I would pick. Either that
All the other
or
places I'd like it to be, we already know it's not, sadly. Killer 6 being a big one, or the chest in Jewelers. It's quite a popular one.
yeah, I would say, yeah. Well, I mean, they're required to go to Jewelers anyway, so I would say either Cress, the end of Cress, or Room 1 in the Pyramid, because
Yeah.
that's usually the last one that people do.
And will definitely be the last room Solar does in the pyramid. And
Yeah.
Solar has finally found his 4th crystal ball.
There it is.
So he can go and get another Mystic statue. So he is also 2 items away from his go mode.
Now we'll see. Oh my goodness. That last chest in Inca having Wind Melody is really going to mess with his routing, I think. Because if he find, we see Neo here coming in to fight Castoff. He has both Inca statues. It would be the right, from Solar's perspective, the right call is to wait to get the Wind Melody before he goes back into Inca. But Inca has the Wind Melody. It was just the one chest he happened to skip.
So at this point in the race, we're really seeing Solar being punished for checks he could have made but didn't. It has been a bit of a highlight throughout, but I feel it's really going to affect him from this point on. And my guess would be we might see a Neo victory over Solar, which if you'd have asked me an hour ago, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, it's so interesting racing randomizers like this, how seemingly arbitrary choices that you can make can really make the difference. I mean, Neo's execution is solid, but then again, Solar is the world record holder in this vanilla game, and so it's hard to compete with that level of execution. But when it comes to just the choices that you make, it really can come down to which not even which strategy is best for all seeds, but just which strategy happens to pay off for this particular seed. All right, we're going to see from Neo what the gold ship has to offer. He's probably hoping. Nia, I did not know you could thread the needle there to get that item. That's cool. Regio.
So we might actually see End of Cress having the key at this rate. I don't know how many more checks they've got. Oh, actually, I want to change my answer. I want Buffy to have the mine key.
Oh my gosh, you monster. I love it. All right, so Buffy is we have affectionately called the NPC in the Seaside Palace, who gives you the vanilla palace key. We've called that NPC Buffy. In the vanilla game, when you awaken everybody and you find out that all of the monsters that you've been killing are actually real people, which, take that for what it is. You make that discovery, and then you talk to one of the NPCs, and they tell you, "Oh, I stole one of these keys off the vampires." It's like, "Oh, cool. Why don't you just, if you can steal a key off the vampires, then why are you just hanging out here? Can you help me?"
Didn't he say he was planning to kill them anyway in the vanilla game?
I don't remember that part of it, but I mean, anyway, so that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer just hanging out there in the Seaside Palace. But you need the Purification Stone in order to do that, and I know that at least Solar and Neo have. There are 5 checks in Seaside Palace. 3 of them are free. One of them is hidden behind Lily in the coffin, and I believe that both Neo and Solar have gotten those 4 items.
Well, I'd say 2 of them are free. One of them is quite a long run there and back.
Well, that's true. The way that the Seaside Palace is laid out is like a giant maze, and it takes a while to get to the end of it. And so it's punishing to have to come back. You could be required to triple dip Seaside Palace, which is rather annoying. And it's punishing because it's such a long maze-like dungeon. So if you get the Purification Stone at this point, if you have other options, you might want to go for those instead, just because all that time just for one check, it's a bit much.
Another quality of life upgrade that Bagu very kindly put into the randomizer. You'll see on Neo's screen right now, that queue is moving about 10 times faster than it does in the vanilla game. If you play this vanilla, you can expect to wait about 2 minutes here.
Alright, Solar just got his aura. We'll see if he goes into Pyramid with it. Also, shout-outs to folks from the UK calling them queues. I like it. Alright, Neo is now off to get his final Mystic Statue. He's not out of the woods yet, though, because he still needs to find that mine key and rescue Kara. So after he gets... Oh, the lag in this dungeon is unreal.
So now we're going to see Solar go and do the pyramid that he's just gained access to. I believe Neo has already done it though, so I don't think he's going to find all the items he wants there, even though he may find one.
I don't remember Neo going through the pyramid. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And between these enemies in the mansion being so, dealing so much damage, having so much health, and also the lag throwing off your timing, this is just a really hard dungeon to navigate through.
So just to backtrack on what me and Bagu were talking about at the start of the run, the guide included, that room Solar Cell is now in where he just got the will. You just got a picture of that room saying there's a red jewel there. Nothing about how to get there.
Yeah, very helpful.
No idea how you're expected to find it normally.
You're probably expected to, get Nintendo Power or something like that in order to get more hints. Alright, Neo is about to go fight Solid Arm. After he does this, I'm going to switch over to Solar so we can enjoy this pyramid music. Alright, Neo choosing an old safe strat for defeating Solid Arm. Still way faster than what I tried to do as a kid.
And a bit safer than the strat I use. I go on the middle conveyor belt, but you have to be careful with how far forward you are. So this is a bit safer than mine.
Slow and steady wins it, Neo. Alright, in the meantime, Solar is making his way through the pyramid. It used to be, let's see, well, there are 3 items that's you're required to have Shadow in order to do. I'm going to switch over to Solar now.
Let's see if Solar's got the swag pixel.
So I think Z was able to get the swag
right.
pixel.
I got the swag pixel. I don't know.
Oh, you got it? I did see. Yeah, someone got it. I think it was you.
That was what reclaimed my run for me, honestly.
It was the second and a half or so that you saved doing that really made the difference.
It made me feel good, at least.
Hey, running a randomizer is what, like 90% confidence?
Yeah, true.
Don't even bother, Solar. You've already been to the mansion. There's no reason. Yep, there you go. Anyway, so there are 6 rooms at the bottom of the pyramid. Room 5 has 2 items. You need to double dip that room to get both of them because they both lead to dead ends. You need Shadow in order to get those items. It used to be thought that you needed Shadow to get room 2, but recently it was discovered that you can get them as well, and it's actually faster to get them as well. So his routing through this dungeon is going to be getting those 2 items in room 5, which he just got, death warping, turning into will, and then going backwards. Room 6, room 4, room 3 has an item you can get as well, room 2 and room 1. So we'll see if he finds that second key. Even if he does find it, he's still looking for that first Inca statue. So, yeah, if Neo hasn't been here yet, and he comes here to find that key, once he finds the key, he'll be done and he'll just nope out. Whereas Solar, I imagine he'll clear this place out because he's looking for 2 items.
3 items. He still needs the wind melody as well. He doesn't know that's in Inca.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so interesting how this ends up. Fast elevator. Yeah, we recently went through and made a bunch of quality of life speed up things to the game, where Neo just was with the elevator is one of them. That goes super fast.
The Killer 6 room, the lift, the moving stairs is super fast now as well. That's really nice to play.
Yeah, it's pretty comical to watch too. Definitely not Ursa approved.
Yeah, the Purity Stone cutscene is a lot quicker. You can basically run straight out of the room. And the Statue of Hope rooms, everything appears quicker. So that's made a big difference actually playing the randomizer. It probably saves minutes, but just feels a lot cleaner for it.
Yeah. And no one goes through the battle tower for the boss rush anymore, but there are three speed ups in there as well. Yeah, that on top of the original speed up of the Euro line. You know, gotta go fast.
Although I have suggested a randomized wait time for the queue in Euro to really annoy people.
Yeah, make it between like 20 seconds and 5 minutes. Does that sound about fair?
I think you should go 10.
10? Alright. Consider it done. Oh, Dapper says he still boss rushes. It's a viable strategy. You get upgrades. You enjoy the speed ups. Good time had by all.
Apart from maybe the bosses.
Yeah, the bosses in Babel are beefed up versions of their vanilla counterparts, or their original counterparts in their dungeons. So they deal a lot more damage. Alright, we have Solar here in room 2 showing off the new strat that was discovered where you can fall through these floors.
You discovered that one, didn't you, Bagu?
I did, but I don't take credit for that. I give credit to Mana Freak. Shout out to that guy. This rando would not be possible without him. I say that in the credits, and I mean it 100%. When I started this project, I had no experience at all in game programming and in assembly and nothing, SNES programming, nothing like that. The reason this game even got off the ground was because of a tool called Gaia the Creator. GaiaTheCreator.blogspot.com is where you can go to get that current version. But Mana Freak, who I believe is from Germany, I think for the past 7 years or so, he's been working on this project that's essentially a ROM hacking tool for Illusion of Gaia. And so as part of that, he's so graciously shared like all of his notes, all of his discoveries about the ROM of the game. And that really helped me get my feet wet with this sort of thing and really get to learn this game and what I need to do with it. Anyway, so I was looking at Gaia the Creator, which has a map viewer where you can look at all the assets that are in, the different screens of the game. And I was looking at the screens in room 2, and I saw off to the side in the black space, there were these 2 long vertical corridors, and I'm like, what are these? I haven't seen these. All right, so that's the end of the pyramid for Solar. He came out none the richer than when he entered.
Although I've just noticed he has the second Hope statue unused, so I have a feeling that might be when Neo found his second Inca statue.
Okay, well that makes sense. Anyway, so I started poking around in those rooms, and that's how we found out, what that was something that the devs had intended that none of the speedrunners, at least currently, knew existed.
Yeah, I still remember that being found. It was really exciting having a new pyramid route. And actually, it made the routing through the pyramid just in the vanilla speedrun just a bit smoother and a bit nicer. Because I think it was 3 shadow rooms and 3 will rooms at that point. And then it
and every time, every time you go back to do a shadow room, you have to warp back to the top and you have to melt down through the stuff. And so each shadow room was kind of costly. And so I think the new route ended up saving around like 15 seconds or something like that over the old route.
It was fairly significant. Yeah. It was really nice. And now we're seeing Solar going to do those last 2 checks he has in Mew.
Now we see Mia at the top. He's the only one that has all 3. He's able to get to the end of Crest, so we'll see what this is. Is this going to be the mine key? It is not. But yeah, he's the only one that has all 3 mushroom drops. And, he's not come out of there with the mine key. We still don't know where that mine key B is.
At this point, I think Buffy may actually have it.
I was gonna say I think it's looking more and more like that's the case. I mean, Solar in the back of his mind is probably still thinking about that one check he left in Inca.
I bet he's forgotten all about it.
Huh? I don't know. We'll see.
Oh! So Solar's found the mine key. It was in Mew.
Oh!
Neo hasn't done those checks yet.
Okay, well Okay, Neo's probably going to do that quickly. Oh, interesting. Neo's
actually,
doing
what's that icon on Neo's tracker on the key, on the first mine key?
Oh, that's when you put it in the gate. You can put one key at a time into that last.
Oh, I never knew that. I thought you had to have both keys to get rid of them from your inventory.
No, yeah. If you're there, if you happen to be there and you have one of the keys, you might as well put it in to free up your inventory space.
And now we can see Neo entering Mew, which means Neo's going to be hitting his go mode very soon.
Oh, this is exciting. Where was that first Inca statue? I'm very curious what Solar is looking for.
Please, if chat knows where that first Incan statue was, if you let us know.
Oh, Solar found the purification stone. He's going to Buffy. I think this might be Neo's race. Again, just like you, Weldon, if you were to ask me, an hour ago, I would have said no way. I know that Neo was having a lot of trouble doing those buffered strats in Sky Garden with Slider.
Yeah, seeing Neo do room 3 vanilla, I thought that was going to be the difference it made for him to not win this race, but Solar's been so punished with missing one check here, one check there that...
There's the mine key.
So now we're going to see Neo run and save Kara quickly, and then hotfoot it to a dark space.
Mm-hmm. Dapper, did you do the end of the tunnel? Yes, I believe. Both Neo and Solar ended up double dipping.
Yeah, Solar went back, found Lily, and cleared out Edward's tunnel. Although Solar has just found it, he must have got it in Palace. So now Solar is also... He doesn't know he's in go mode though, because he didn't get the wind melody. Maybe he's just going to go and brute force it? Or maybe he'll do that final check.
Oh, he's going! Oh my gosh, this just got super close. Oh my goodness.
I do still think this is Neo's race though.
I think you're right, because Neo already beat Castoff. He's actually on his way to do his last thing right now. Yeah, you're right. I think this is Neo's race.
Solar's got 3 boss fights to beat the game, while Neo has 1 boss fight. This is Neo.
Wow. GG Neo. What an interesting race. And Solar's looking at his inventory. What can I drop to make room for this item? Can he drop anything? He has to drop his herbs. Oh my goodness.
And he is going for the check where Wind Melody is.
Inventory management, folks. And there's Samlet on Neo's screen.
So it didn't punish him at all not doing that check. Or briefly minor.
I wonder if he was planning on doing the Neo strat, if he couldn't find the Wind Melody there.
I definitely think that's what he was planning to do. In fact, I half expected him just to miss that check completely and go and brute force it.
Oh, looks like... Okay, I think Neo has completed all of his game-ending conditions. I think he's making his way to this dark space. I think it would have been faster for him to go back to Frisia, but it makes the race closer for us, so it's entertaining.
If he'd have death warped, I think Frisia, but I think he's got such a slow death warp. Actually, he's only got 1 defense and 25 health. Death warping wouldn't have been too slow.
Yeah. Well, in any case, when you go to Gaia after you've completed all the game-ending conditions, Gaia will ask if you want to be warped to the final boss.
And Neo is now flying to the comet.
There he goes. Alright, what's this quote gonna be?
Now, I don't want to... Sorry,
let's
go
move
on.
back over to Neo. No, I was just going to switch over to Neo's audio for this fight.
Now, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theory nut or anything right now, but all I'm going to say is maybe Solar planned to come second in this race, because if he raced in the final tomorrow, that's when his NFL team are playing in their playoff match. But if he's in the runners-up race, he will have finished in time to watch it. So I don't want to put any suspicions in anyone's mind, but this may have been planned.
Well, there you go. And it also gives Solar more, I guess, a better opportunity to win one of them sweet dioramas, which we haven't mentioned the prize for this very much, but there have been 2 custom dioramas that have been made of the game after Neo is done with this fight. We'll probably bring it up on the screen so you can see, but both the runners-up of these 4 races today will be facing each other tomorrow, and the winners of these races will be facing each other, and the winners of both of those races will get a custom diorama from the game.
Which I was really hoping to win, but now I'm going to be in a race with Solar. I might just have to buy one.
Well, now you know you just got to clear out areas when you find them, and you'll know that maybe Solar will be doing the YOLO strat like he's doing, and maybe who knows if it'll pay off or not.
I'd like to think he's learned his lesson after this seed.
Yeah. Awesome boss music. Now, do yourself a favor after this race. Keep up SpeedGaming because of course we have more races today, so don't go anywhere. We have another one coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that race will be between New York Rambler, Psy 990, and Varamp, and they'll be doing a seed. Competing for winner and for runner-up for the races tomorrow. But in any case, after this is over and you keep SpeedGaming up, go Google some metal covers of Illusion of Gaia pieces, and you will not be disappointed. There's some really cool stuff that people have done. Oh, Neo got dipped.
Alternatively, you can wait for Don't Bagu to stream and then sub to him, and you can hear quite a nice one.
There you go. Hey, I'll take that too. A less costly way though would be just to Google it. And we're coming up on time for Neo very soon.
And that is a GG for Neo right there.
There we go. GG Neo. Wow. What a race. What a race.
And here we can hear some of that fantastic pyramid music coming from Maya.
Indeed.
I think we're going to try and grab Neo for an interview. I don't know if they're going to interview him on the French channel first, as he is both an English and French speaker.
Oh, that's right. I could try interviewing him in French. I can ask him who cut the cheese.
Hi.
Oh, bonjour Neo, qui a coupé le fromage? That's one of the only things I know in French.
Congratulations on your race, Neo.
Thanks.
Good game, man. How do you feel?
I'm so happy I did not go to the pyramid.
Oh, you're salty you didn't go to the pyramid?
No, I'm happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the pyramid had nothing. That's 2 seeds in a row today where the pyramid was just, it's amazing. 10% of the items and just has nothing in it at all.
Yeah, pyramid and crest, nothing there.
Man, very well done though. It was a kind of a slow start, getting Slider early, and you know that was.
Yeah.
Man, you really stayed consistent, and you were just making all the right choices. And man,
Yeah.
you were at the edge of our seats there. Amazing work.
How did you feel at the start of your run when you had to do room 3 of...
Oh, I felt so bad. I tried again and again to do the skip, but it just did not want to work. I tried again and again, and I feel like I lost 5 minutes trying this.
My heart really went out for you at that point, because Solar's early game was just phenomenal. He smashed everything, and I thought it was going to be a really close race between you two, which it did end up being again. But I was really worried for you at that point.
Solar's fighting the comet right now, so he's on his way right there. But yeah, it was really the difference between 2 different types of strategies. Solar was going for easy checks and then noping out, and then coming back later, and you were more clearing where you were, and yours ended up winning the day.
Yeah, I chose to full clear wherever I was, so I avoided coming back and doing double dips on sometime long dungeon.
Well,
I was happy I skipped the only skip I really done was the freedom checks in NASCAR, and I should have stayed at skipping this because there was nothing there.
Oh yeah, did you ever go back and get those, or did you just leave?
Yeah, I went and get those, but I could have gone to don't remember where I finished. Where I got Mega Mod.
Right,
In Mew. Well, I think I could have gone to Mew right after I got the the second statue, but I had to watch what I left behind.
Exactly. Well, this means that you are going to be racing tomorrow in the finals.
Yeah.
You will be joining Z so far.
I really did not think I would get to the finals, so.
Well, you did well, and so that's going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
And again, the winners of these first 2 races, who are Z and Neo, and then these next 2 races will be facing each other, and the runners-up will be facing each other at 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And so far, that will be Wilden and looks like probably Solar now.
And Solar has just finished.
Yes. I will leave you here. I will go to the French restaurant for the interview now.
Excellent. Thank you so much for good playing, Neo. Thanks for the race. That was really fun.
And congratulations.
Thank you for commenting.
Once again.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Now, I believe Solar's going to jump in to have a word with us.
Yeah, while we have it up, why don't we go ahead and bring up the prize? We have a picture of the diorama that the custom work. shout outs to Link584 in chat. He's the creator of the prizes for our race this time around. The runners up, the winner of the runner up race and the winner of the final race will each get one of these that you'll see on the screen here pretty soon. But hey, Solar.
So Solar,
Hello,
I want
hello.
to ask you one question.
Oh, here we go.
What do you always ask me if I've done in the Great Wall? And what didn't you do in Sky Garden?
Listen, I had my own demons to face that entire race, okay?
Yeah, well, first of all, GG, runner up.
Yeah.
Second of all, okay, so tell us what you're thinking. You know,
Well,
what
first of
would you
all,
see
just
like
let me ask. Just please let me ask. Did Netta go to the pyramid?
Oh, you mean Neo?
Or Neo? Yeah. Sorry. Neo. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I will always lose any race if pyramid is not required at all.
It's the right move, man. I mean, it really is. There's so many checks there. There's no reason not to go there.
Yeah.
We just had two runs in a row where it just there's nothing there.
They better stop. Oh, they better stop. We gotta see some pyramid action. Yeah, so like I went to Sky Garden first because we didn't have any moves right at the beginning. I was hoping I got something. I got one that I was like, okay, there's more dark spaces left, I feel, in Diamond Mine, so I'll go there and look for moves. And then I don't know, I was playing a risk, it didn't pay off. I gotta really remember that when you're doing normal difficulty, stuff is supposed to be right in front of you more so than the harder difficulties. And I haven't beat that into my head for this tournament.
So we've had a little bit of a conspiracy theory, Solar. It may have been started by me.
Uh-oh.
Did you purposefully come second so you could watch the Ravens match tomorrow?
I mean, they're in the playoffs, man.
I mean, not a bad strategy. And really, it was really interesting to watch this race. It was so entertaining. Just your execution, of course, is spot on. Solar, everyone did really well. Neo had a little bit of struggle. He ended up doing room 4 in Sky Garden first, which means he had slider before going into room 3, and so he was really struggling trying to get that ramp glitch, and ended up just doing the room vanilla. So in the beginning, we were thinking, it's like, oh man, this is Solar's race. But it was just really the battle between two different schools of thought on strategy for this game.
It really bites you when you try to play the numbers versus play the logic.
Well, it depends on the seed, really. I mean, like, it's not like you're wrong. It's just like, which seed is this? Is this one of those seeds where you should clear out everything you can do while you're here, or is it better to, oh, I got a progression item, let's nope out and go somewhere else? It's really anybody's call, It's like this the fun thing about randomizers, in my opinion.
I was happy though. I felt good about dipping out of Inca because I knew the last chest had to have the wind melody, and I was also smiling like, aha, Neo can't do the tile glitch.
You know what? He did give a little visual shout out to it. He got the wind melody, and he, when he stood on the tile, he stood on that pixel where he was standing on 4 tiles.
Oh my gosh.
Show up.
Yeah, but this is what's cool about the tournament. Anything can happen. It's not just about skill. It's about what happens, RNG or just good guessing, or also skill. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Neo for sure.
It was very fun to watch and commentate. Just seeing you miss one check here and one check there, and then seeing Neo get it. So then we could see what item you missed, and we could talk about how that was going to affect your routing going forward, and see whether it would punish you or if you'd be ahead by it. I think you were very unlucky to be behind on basically every check you skipped, but it was very exciting to watch.
Well, that's the thing. Like, almost every check I think I skipped was like an herb or a red jewel. I didn't really feel punished about it. What just punished was going to pyramid for me. I felt like I was flying through the seed for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else went through Mount Cress or not.
Maya finished Mount Cress. I don't think there was anything useful there.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, I think Neo. I don't think Neo ever went into Mount Cress. He never did pyramid. But I think what we were talking about early on in the game was just how not having spin as early as everyone else did. Really, you went all the way to the end of Great Wall, for instance, looking for spin. so that was,
Yeah, that
it's
definitely
amazing
cost me
how
some time.
routing, yeah, like routing choices really can affect what happens, further down the seed.
I couldn't just break away from the sunken cost. I had to just keep going. And then finally I was like, all right, fine, let's go. And it was heart crushing to get Psycho Dash in Great Wall. I thought I made a play, and it's just absolutely crushed me.
Yeah. Oh, and this having to go back and get that item at the end of Diamond Mine as well was something weird. Things like, oh man, is he gonna go back and get that later, or is he gonna just leave it?
Especially after seeing your frustration after you death warped after not getting it.
I know. I had every intent, like, okay, there has to be a move here, right? Otherwise, it's back in Skygarden. So I got Friar right there, or yeah, I guess it was Friar, and I thought that just completely left my mind that I had to get that check. It was just like, all right, I'm like 5 steps ahead now of where I need to go, and I'm planning this whole route, and I completely forgot about it.
All right. Well, GG Solar. Okay, Solar. Okay, so we have kind of a like a world wrestling thing going on where we have 2 of the people that are going to be facing each other in the runner-up race tomorrow here on the same call. Is there any shade you guys want to throw at each other beforehand, or do we want to hype up this race at all? What's going on?
Oh, not at all. I've never beaten Solar in a race, and I don't see tomorrow being the first time.
I think tomorrow is just a race to see who can watch the Ravens game first, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to have it up on a second screen just in case I'm still playing when it starts.
Well, that's no fun. I was looking for chair throwing drama right there, and we just got.
All right, Governor, I'm going to whoop you.
We just got good sportsmanship. That's no fun.
I mean,
seriously, go ahead.
I'd love to throw some shade at Solar, but I'm very conscious of my ability and Solar's ability. I'd only be lying to myself.
Everyone in the community is so wonderful and so polite, and join the Discord if you want to, if you're interested in this game, if you're interested in this random. We'd love to have you. It's the most helpful group of people ever. I'm becoming more entrenched in my belief that being a fan of Illusion of Gaia just automatically makes you a good person, just because of the quality of people that this game has attracted. And it's just been so great. Thank you all for racing. Thank you, Wilden, for commentating. This was Wilden's first time commentating a race. Did you do great? I thought it was fantastic. It was so much fun.
And before we sign off, just a massive happy birthday to Don't Bagumi.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, I had my birthday a few days ago. Can't think of a better way to spend it than with all y'all. Yeah. Thank you all for the race. Thank you so much to SpeedGaming for hosting these next couple of days and really helping us showcase not only the game itself, but also just the caliber of skill and runners that we have of the game. Please follow our racers today. I'll put up myself and Wilden as well in the chat. Give everybody a follow. Share the love. And we'll see you in a little over an hour for the next race between New York Rambler, Psi 990, and Varanth. And that'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same bat channel as you're looking at right now. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a good hour.
Thank you, everyone.